Swarajya Samrajya Vibhutiresha Bhavat Kripa Shri Mahima Prasadat Prapta Maya Shri Gurave Mahatmane Namo Namaste Stu Punarnamostu Namo Namaste Stu Punarnamostu Namo Namaste Stu Punarnamostu Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chinmahase Namaha Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate. Hari. So before going to 14th chapter, the speciality, the rarity of the Bhagavad Gita discourse, I would like to spend some time on it. We generally call Bhagavad Gita as a revolutionary scripture, revolutionary concept. Because the truth, as in Bhagavad Gita it is said, at the end of every chapter you will find Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad Su. That is Bhagavad Gita, whatever is presented, it has been taken from the Upanishad. That Bhagavad Gita itself declares that it has been taken from Upanishads. So the truth and whatever the presentation, basically the truth, it was already there in the Upanishads. Then why Bhagavad Gita is revolutionary? That should be the question. It is revolutionary because of a fundamental reason, which I will come at the end, but in the beginning I would like to point out that everybody who is going through the scripture should notice that all the Upanishads are written in a very peaceful circumstance. That is either in the forest hermitage of a rishi, of a sage, or in the king's palace where the rishi has come is preaching, or it is a one-to-one dialogue on the riverside or so. In Srimad Bhagavata, in Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, in Kathopanishad, in Chandogya Upanishad, wherever, in Mundaka Upanishad is one-to-one. A great householder, after fulfilling his household life, appeared before Angiras, and Angiras is telling him the truth. In Kathopanishad, Nachiketa goes to Yamaraj, it's a fictitious character, and there Yamaraja is teaching Nachiketa. Like that everywhere. Then why in Bhagavad Gita? It is a strange situation. It is the war situation. And that too, one of the greatest war we can even imagine, where after the war only 11 of them or 10 of them remained. Rest all died. Whether the winner side or the loser side, everybody died. So in such a war dialogue, this same truth of the Upanishads is presented. Not only it is a war dialogue presented in the war situation, both the disciple and the teacher are not sages or renunciate sannyasins or ascetic brahmacharin. Both are administrators. Krishna was sort of a king, an administrator. Arjuna also was an administrator, going to be a king or anything like that. So it is a dialogue between two administrators, two rulers, which is absolutely rare in our all other scriptures. So by the very backdrop itself, Bhagavad Gita says that there is a speciality in its presentation, a very, very rare and revolutionary backdrop. Now, as far as the Upanishadic discourses were going on in our country from the time immemorial, we don't know, it is prehistoric, Kathopanishad, Mundakopanishad and so 11 other Upanishads and many other Upanishads. They were continuing in our country exclusively for the renunciates basically. Those who have not any desire for the worldly enjoyment left, either they have renounced the world or they are very young brahmacharin who do not have much of desires in them. So they have gone and they are pursuing. Now the Upanishadic presentation or Upanishadic Sadhana, Sadhana means the pursuit. It is meant for generally for the renunciates or those who are reasonably, whose minds are reasonably free of vasana, of desires, ego, agitation, etc. They are not bothered by the world. Neither do they have clinging for what they like, nor do they have hatred towards what they dislike. So their mind should generally be freed of raga-dvesha, we say. Raga means clinging to what we like. Dvesha means hating or intolerant about what we dislike. Now, so it was believed in our country that to have this knowledge, we have to leave our worldly life and go to a forest or to a hermitage or to a sage who is sitting in the forest and gain this knowledge and pursue the sadhana. So Upanishadic sadhana is called the exclusive jnana nishtha, exclusive knowledge pursuit, or kevala jnana nishtha. This word you should remember. Kevala jnana nishtha. Kevala means exclusive, jnana means knowledge, nishtha means complete dedication to the knowledge. And the method directed in the Upanishad is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. That is, you first hear about the truth, listen to the truth. Generally we say that from a realized person. The listening will be effective when it is coming from a person who has realized the truth, who is living the truth. Because it is a truth to be lived. So it has to come from a person who is living the truth. Otherwise also Shravana means listening to the truth. Then comes Manana. Manana means once you have listened to the truth that yes, what is the truth? The truth is very simple. Simple means that I think that my identity is body-mind limited. It is different from all others' identity. And I am different from all others. As far as the body-mind personality is concerned, each personality is different, no doubt about it. But what is the real identity which we always refer to as I? Certainly it is not the body-mind personality, because I knows the body. The body which changes from right from birth onward. You also know that yesterday what was the body, or 10 years back or 20 years back. The body was different. The body is constantly changing. I is the observer of that change. The mind also, sometimes it is dukkhi, sometimes it is sukhi, sometimes it is happy, sometimes it is unhappy. So the mind is changeful. But the I knows that yesterday it was unhappy, today it is happy. That means the I has not changed. To see any change, one has to see the change against a non-changing background, is it not? Suppose the clock. If the dial also moves with the arm, will you know the time? No change will be seen. When the train moves in with perspective of the platform, you see the train is moving. If the platform also moves with the train, you will not know that it is moving. So any change taking place has to be against a non-changing background. And when we look into the I, that this I is an observer of the changing body, changing mind, changing emotion. Everything is changeful. Our emotions are changeful. The intelligence also, sometimes it is dull, sometimes it is sharp. So the I is seeing the changes taking place in the body, mind, intelligence, emotion, everywhere. Is it not? So not only that, I is the subject who is perceiving the objects. The objects are sometimes gross like the body, sometimes subtle, like the mind, the thoughts, the emotions, intelligence, the functioning analysis of the intelligence. I am observing all these things. I is the subject, all others are object before me. So, the truth is that the real I, our real identity, is not limited by the body-mind personality. And the greatest discovery of not only India, but the entire human civilization, the greatest discovery is the discovery of this real I. It is an experimental discovery, it is an experiential discovery, which is much, much greater than any other scientific technological discovery. Because if we can follow it, the civilization will be free of all its ailments, and the individual also will be free of all ailments. So this is the Upanishadic truth. To realize it, to actualize it, even if you listen to it, it will not be readily actualized because we have been used to thinking of us as a body-mind personality. We are having an ego, having some likes and dislikes, etc. So what we have to do is that when we first listen to the truth, our intelligence will not agree. That I know that I am like this, how can the I be independent of the body-mind personality? How can the I be one and even transcending one? It is not different for different bodies at all. That is our Atma. How can it be? So with intelligence we start analyzing it. This is called Manana. That means pondering over the truth and put forward all the logics to understand that where I am not able to understand, where is the obstacle, what will make me understand this reality. So the Upanishads are presented also in that manner. In many of the Upanishads you will find the disciple is raising these questions. If it is so, then what is the answer to that? And the teacher is giving the reply, which will induce manana in us. Manana means the contemplation on it, thinking, analyzing it. Now, after listening comes the manana. After Shravana comes manana. When it is the peak of manana, that means we have applied all our intelligence. Now, normally with the normal intelligence which is always busy with the worldlies, every worldly thing means it is limited, it is constricted, it is fragmented. That is the reality of the creation, not only of our society, but the creation is like that. So, to remain in that creation, at the same time realize this oneness on which the whole multifarious creation is appearing to be, it is generally people find it difficult. That is why it is said that to actualize this knowledge, one has to leave everything and be completely dedicated to this contemplation of the truth. That is the manana. When he goes on meditating on it, analyzing it, at one point his intelligence becomes completely convinced of the truth. That is no more further argument. He becomes convinced of the truth. Yes, what the Shastras says and say and what my Guru says, all are correct. I have understood. But still I don't have a first-hand experience of it. That means it is about, the truth is about what? It is not about the camera or about the carpet or about the fan. The truth is about our own identity. Our Atma means, which I am always referred to as I. So if it is a truth about I might feel that it is the truth. Do you get my point? I am saying this is the I, this is the Atma. And I am thinking I am small, I am limited, I am affected by sukha, dukkha, everything. I am elated in sukha, I am depressed in dukkha. Then there is a contradiction. So he at that point will say that although I have understood my real identity is like this, but I have not been able to have the first-hand experience of it, so that I can say, yes, it is like this. So far I have been listening from the Guru or from the Shastras. The realization, we will call it a realization when we can say, yes, I know it is this. Not a second-hand knowledge from the Shastras or the Guru. But the knowledge has become maturated, actualized, and I can say that, yes, now I can also say whatever the Shastras have written, whatever the Gurus have been saying is true. So, to come to that state after the manana, when the knowledge has not become consolidated, but the theoretical part has been consolidated and the intelligence is free of all doubts, then comes the Needity Asana. It's not a so easy term. Needity Asana. Shravana, Manana, Needity Asana. Needity Asana means the intelligence is no longer arguing that or trying to inquire into further that if this is the truth, then how can this happen, how can that happen. All those things are already settled. So the mind goes on contemplating on the truth in a, we call it Eka Tattva Ghanabhyasa. Eka Tattva. Tattva means truth. One truth. Ghana Abhyasa. Abhyasa means practice. Ghana means when there is no gap. Eka Tattva Ghanabhyasa. That means in the contemplation there is no break. Earlier in Manana, what was it? Sometimes we are thinking, yes, this is the truth. Sometimes the intelligence is raising some questions. No, how can it be? Then you are again analyzing. So it is getting split. It is not continuous process of contemplation. When the intelligence has got completely satisfied and the mind is no longer running after anything, one is reasonably free of all desires, then the mind takes a smooth flow. We also call it Taila Dharavat. Taila Dharavat means like the flow of oil. When you pour water, it splits into droplets, is it not? But when you pour oil, it doesn't split. It simply, in a same strain, it falls. So like that, the mind also flows with the same strain of the truth, not getting split by further inquiry or cross questioning or anything like that. So this Shravana results into, if a proper Shravana from a proper person, proper teacher, it leads to Manana. Manana properly, when properly done, and it takes care of all our doubts and the mind becomes convinced of the truth, then it takes to Nididhyasana, like a dedicated flow, smooth flow of the contemplation. And the peak of Nididhyasana is called Yana Samadhi. That means you get fused into the real identity, into the truth. That is, we have now an egoistic identity. I think that I am small and Anand is different from me, or Divakaran is different from me. So my identity is small, limited by the body-mind personality. This is the egoistic identity we have created, we have posited, or we have grown with from childhood. Now, by repeated Manana and Nididhyasana, this I gets fused with the universal or transcendental I, which is beyond all fragmentation, all division, everything. That I cannot be two. Even calling it one also is wrong. Because when we think of one, there is a thought about something else. That it is not two, it is not three. That also cannot be there. Not only that, whether we take one or two, we can refer it to some objects before us. That there is one bag, there are 25 people. All we are seeing, but it is not that kind of a objective vision. That you can call it 1, 2, 3 like that. Atma can never be seen as different from my identity, myself. And there comes the greatest difficulty. Why people are not able to realize? Because they try to see the Atma, know the Atma, think of the Atma as different from what he is. When that goes, then by this Nididhyasana, that egoistic I gets completely unified with the real I, which we say Paramatma. Generally in some cases we call it Paramatma. The Atma gets absorbed, fused or unified with the Paramatma or Brahman, whatever you may say. That is the peak of Nididhyasana, where a person enters Samadhi. In that case there is no subject-object division also. in Bhagavatam, in the Nimi Chakravarti segment, the truth is described, the God is described. What is that? Vadanti tat tattva vidaha tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. He says that tattva means truth. Vadanti tat tattva vidaha. The knower of truth, they say. Vadanti means say. The who say? Tattva vidaha. Those who know the truth. Tattvam yad jnanam advayam. The truth is the advaya jnana. Advaya means non-dual. It is not monism. Monism means ekeshvara. Ek, one Ishvara. That is monism. Vedanta is not monism. It is non-dualism. Non-dual means it doesn't have any duality. Calling it one also is wrong. Why non-dual? We will explain. He says that non-dual knowledge is the truth. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. This non-dual knowledge itself is referred to as Brahman by Vedanta, Paramatma by the spiritualist, and Bhagavan by the religions, God. That is, whatever we refer to as God in religion, or Paramatma in spiritual practices, or Brahman in the philosophy or in Vedantic philosophy, all are same. They are nothing but the non-dual knowledge. Now, what is this non-dual knowledge? That is the summum bonum of all Vedantic texts, including Bhagavad Gita. This non-dual knowledge is, normal knowledge is always, I am learning Bhagavad Gita. So the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is different from me. I am learning about the camera. That knowledge is different from me. When I am knowing, I know the camera, I will say. I am not becoming camera. By knowing a car, I am not becoming the car. By knowing the carpet, I am not becoming the carpet. By knowing God, I am not becoming God. General, ordinary knowledge. So that is the dual knowledge, that there is a subject or knower, and there is an object, the known, and there is a process of knowing. Subject knows the object by the process of knowing. It is called Triputi. In practice it is called Triputi. Triputi means threefold division. Even if it is not threefold, you need not consider the knowing process. You can call it the duality. That is, there will always, in the normal worldly knowledge, there will always be a division between the knower and the known, the seer and the seen. By knowing something, nobody becomes the known. The knower remains different from the known. But in this case, what happens? More and more we actualize the knowledge of the Atma. What is this knowledge of the Atma? What is this Atma? It is, we are considering it as our own identity. And the scriptures are talking about our own identity. What is called aham pratyaya gochara. We are always saying I. Aham means I. That I, we are saying in wakeful state, in dream state also. Without the I, there cannot be any dream. In the dream, the I comes first. Maybe you are constituting an I which is different from the I in the wakeful state. If you have lot of desire of becoming a king, then in the dream you have become a king. That you have manufactured that king, that I. But without that I, the world will not be there. In the dream world will not be there. In this world also, anything, that unconsciousness also, when there is no signal, after getting up you said, I was unconscious. Why are you saying I was unconscious? Because normally the signals are coming and you are knowing many things of the world. In that unconscious state, you did not know of anything. Even your body you did not know, your mind you did not know. That is a zero signal state or zero state. But still you know that no signal is coming. That is why you are saying, I did not know anything. Is it not? Getting up, you don't know how much time because the awareness was not there. Maybe 1 second has passed or maybe 1 day has passed. That you will come to know after getting up. But getting up, you definitely know that there has been a gap when I did not know anything. Because when you are not knowing anything, time will not be there. So you don't know how long it is. By seeing the external circumstances, you have to conclude how long it had been. Others will tell you. For 1 year you have been lying unconscious. That others will have to tell. You will never know. So, without the I, nothing can be there. But in all the other cases, this I is the subject, it is knowing the object. But in spiritual knowledge, this I is trying to realize what this I is. That is, the subject itself is the knowledge. Now, because of our habit of always knowing the knowledge of the objects, always we are trying to know the objects, the problem comes that when we are trying to know the subject also, we try to see the Atma as an object before me. Either in vision or in buddhi or somewhere that tendency to see something different from the I doesn't go. And that becomes the greatest obstacle. Now in non-dual knowledge, what happens? The peak of Needity Asana, which is the Samadhi, in that case, no more this tendency is there. The whole world has vanished. When we say the whole world is not there, means your body, mind, personality, which is a product of nature, product of the world, which is a minuscule part in the world. Our body, mind, personality is also part of the world, a minuscule part of the world. When the world goes, that body, mind, personality also has gone. Nothing is there. That is the time the revealer of the world, the consciousness, the Atma, it reveals itself because there is nothing to reveal. I can go further deeper into it, but then we will go deviated from the subject. So this is called Advaya Jnana. Why it is Advaya? Because there is no subject-object division. Normal knowledge, objective knowledge, there is always the subject is knowing some object or some concept or some thought, emotion. In this case, that difference is not there. The subject is knowing the subject itself. So what is this subject? It is the consciousness which is revealing the external world, which is revealing the internal world of our thought, emotions, everything. Is it not? Without the consciousness, we will not know anything. It is revealing something as external, something as internal. And in the absence of everything, it is revealing itself. Why it is revealing itself? That also is very well known. We can go into it and understand that when I am seeing the microphone, unless the microphone appears in my consciousness, we will not know it. Is it not so? But what happens when the microphone appears in the consciousness? Our focus is on the microphone, not where it is appearing. Our focus is always on the revealed, not we are always missing the revealer. Suppose in the mind a thought has appeared, mother's thought. Immediately our focus is on the mother's thought, what is happening to her, or maybe she has died, something passed from the past. All these things will come. But where is the mother's thought appearing? Is it not in our consciousness? That part we miss. Whatever is appearing there, either internal object or external object, that becomes our point of attention. That becomes our focus. So we miss the revealer. Our focus is on the revealed. Just like when you see the waves, if you don't see the sea, only the waves, it's not possible there, it's an object. It is like that the sea of consciousness where the whole world is appearing to be, all the objects have to appear. We are perceiving the world in our consciousness only. Unless it appears in the consciousness, we will not know. So, which is revealing the whole world, that revealer consciousness we are always missing. And that is the subject of all our scriptures, whether it is Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita, everywhere it is so. And that we call it as Atma or Brahman or Paramatma, all become same there. That is why it is called yoga also. We do the physical yoga and all, that is only a initial step towards that. The real yoga is the fusion of our created small identity with the universal identity. That is the real yoga. Do you get it? We think ourselves to be small, fragmented, different from all others. When that identity gets fused into the real universal identity, transcendental identity, the universal consciousness, then is the real yoga. Now, you can understand the abstractness of the concept. We are trying to elucidate it, but it may not become clear. That is why to pursue it wholesomely, it needs a seclusion, complete dedication. So we call it exclusive knowledge dedication or kevala jnana nishtha. That is the Upanishadic pursuit. Now in Bhagavad Gita it is entirely different. That is why we are calling it revolutionary. That is coming from the presentation of Bhagavad Gita also, because it is in the war field and it is a conversation between one ruler with another ruler. What is the Bhagavad Gita presentation? They are fundamentally accepting the Upanishadic truth. But Vyasadeva or Sri Krishna is presenting in Bhagavad Gita that why should this pursuit, which is such a great pursuit, which takes people, which relieves people of all their sufferings, troubles, agitations and what not. All the troubles of life will go by knowing this truth. If it is restricted to a few who are only renounced from the world, who have renounced from the world, gone away from the world, how can it be justified? It should be available to everybody. So Vyasadeva presented the same truth in the manner that anybody working in any field, anywhere in the world will be able to perceive it, will be able to pursue it. Am I clear? You might be employed in the field, you might be employed in the kitchen, you might be a pilot, it might be a warrior, you might be a king. For everybody it should be available. And you know that most of our good kings were knower kings. That is why they were called Rajarshis, Raja Rishi. Our kings were not ordinary kings. Because king's duty is so penalizing that ordinary people, those who are not corrupt and those who are very honest and sympathetic, they will not be able to do it. They cannot give even a capital punishment to anybody where it is needed to be given. So the kings needed this knowledge to be dispassionate, to be able to do their duty in the proper manner. So they used to go to the Rishi, as we find in Rama's case also, the Vasishtadeva was preaching. In any of the good kings, they will go to a Rishi and from there they will acquire this knowledge, actualize this knowledge and come back and rule. They are not ruling out of their greed or anything. They are ruling because the society has to be preserved. It's a part of the societal responsibility. When they felt that they cannot rule, they went away. Going to the forest, they met some rishi who made them a knower and then told that you go back and rule the kingdom again. They come back and they rule the kingdom with absolute knowledge of this truth. In Rama's case, when Vasishtadeva, that in Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, for 18 days Vasishtadeva was preaching Rama. Finally, much before the end, Rama went into Samadhi, which I said that Yana Samadhi by Needity Asana. It was a continuous morning to evening discourse every day for 18 days. From morning they used to come and evening they used to go back. So Rama went into Samadhi. Then and he was not getting up. Then Vasishtadeva, by his power, he again awakened Rama and said that Rama, this is not the time for you to go in, to remain in Samadhi. You have known the truth. Now you live the life of ruling the kingdom with all the glories and all the responsibilities you have. So again Rama was put back in the throne to rule the kingdom. Like that in Yoga Vasishtha there are many other stories also. Vasishtadeva is giving example. What happened to that king? What happened to another king? So that Rama gets inspired by that. So, in Bhagavad Gita, the revolutionary presentation is that anyone in any field of activity should be able to pursue this sadhana or pursuit of truth, remaining where he is. And for that he said that normally any pursuer of truth, of this ultimate truth, they consider the activities as an obstacle. Is it not so? If you have to work in an office, if you have to fight a war, then you will consider those to be obstruction, because any activity will put this constricted reality, that is, I am different from others, I have to scold the employee, I have to oil the boss, and all these things will be there. So it will definitely not allow to get into this oneness picture. But Vyasadeva, through Krishna, said that it is possible, and he strongly in Bhagavad Gita has advocated that the activities, interactions should not be avoided, but any activity can made into an instrument towards liberation. Mark my word. Normally we are avoiding the activity thinking that it is an obstacle for my realization of the truth. But in Bhagavad Gita, it is repeatedly said, Tasmad Yudhyasva Bharata, Tasmad Yudhyasva Bharata. And what kind of an activity has taken? A Mahabharata war. And it is not like the war of the present time. It is a war which Arjuna had to fight with his own bow and arrow, right in the battlefield. And Krishna is saying, this war will become your sadhana. So, can you think of your going to the office or your cooking in the kitchen can become an obstacle to this sadhana? Are we not all going against Bhagavad Gita? When we say that I don't have time to do the sadhana, Swamiji, because I have to cook, then I have to go take my children to the school, then drop them, then come back and do the office work and then again cook. No such excuse can be given, because what Krishna is asking is to convert all actions into a sadhana. Your sadhana is not for 15 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour or even 2 hours of the day. You have to make every moment a sadhana. But how? By changing your mindset. It is not the activity that is the obstacle. Activities are no obstacle. It is your mindset, your vision, your desires. Those are the obstacles. They have to be treated. So rather than avoiding the interactions, you should take the interactions as an opportunity to progress. Because when you interact, then only you come to know your constrictions, that I am becoming selfish here, I am becoming gain-oriented here, I am becoming attached to something, I am becoming intolerant of what I dislike, I am clinging to what I like. All these things, how will you know that your mind is hosting all these things? Unless you are active. When you are active in the world, then only all these things, the constrictions of the mind, the limitations of the mind, the smallness of the mind will be pointed out. So these are occasions when you apply the sadhana of Bhagavad Gita and get the mind relieved from all these constrictions. And once your mind has free of these constrictions, then the same sadhana of Upanishad, you will automatically pass over to that. Needity Asana and Samadhi will have, it will take place automatically. Now this Bhagavad Gita is presented in a beautiful backdrop, because Arjuna is repeatedly saying that, oh Krishna, if you say that this is the truth, I have understood the greatness of the dimension of the mind, what you are presenting about the Sankhya Yoga or so. But then why are you asking me to fight this notorious war? I would rather become a sannyasin. I will go to the forest, live on bhiksha, on begging, and contemplate on the truth. Krishna says, no, it is not possible. 14 years you have meditated on the war to defeat Duryodhana and take back the kingdom. Suddenly if you leave and go to the forest, you will not be relieved of your mind. Your mind will carry all the things to the forest. So neither you will be able to win the war or get defeated in the war, neither you will have your own activity fulfilled, nor you will be able to be successful as a sannyasin or as a renunciate or an ascetic or as an ascetic. So both way you lose, your life will become useless. So you fight the war, and through the war, by fighting the war with the mindset I am telling you, you will get liberation. So this is a very, very important point of Bhagavad Gita, that activities are not an obstacle to this sadhana. But by changing the mindset, they can be completely transformed. All the activities of all moments of life can be transformed into a sadhana, which will take you to the same goal as the Upanishads present in the form of Shravana, Manana, Needity Asana and Samadhi. It comes right in the beginning. In the first chapter, 1.44, 44th verse, Arjuna is saying that Ahovat mahat papam kattum vyavasita vayam yat rajya sukhalobhena hantum swajanamudyataha. Ahovat mahat papam kattum vyavasita vayam. O Krishna, by the way, this first chapter is all lecture of Arjuna to Krishna, not Krishna to Arjuna. So Shankaracharya has not commented on it. It says that it is all Arjuna's lecture to Krishna and in a deluded state of the mind. What shall I comment on that? I comment on what Krishna said. So he starts his commentary from second chapter onwards. So Arjuna is saying we are out to commit one of the greatest sin, Mahat Papam, Kartum Vyavasita Vayam. We are ready to commit the greatest sin, one of the greatest sins. Why? Yat Rajya Sukha Lobhena. This is very important. Yat Rajya Sukha Lobhena Hantum Swajanamudyataha. We are going to kill our own friends, kids and kin, most particularly my own most beloved grandfather and the most respected teacher, Bhishma and Drona. They are standing on the opposite side. I have to kill them also. So we are going to kill for what? Yat Rajya Sukha Lobhena. Rajya Sukha Lobha. What does it mean? Greed for enjoying the kingdom. That is, he is first of all deluded in thinking that ruling is an enjoyment, which is not at all true. And he is thinking that I am fighting the war for the greed of winning over the kingdom and ruling it and having the kingly comfort. So it is a gain-oriented, selfish mindset, which is looking for winning the war, for having something for himself as a king. Do you appreciate the... This is where our sadhana starts. That all of us are trying to do things with a gain-oriented mindset. Selfish gain-oriented mindset. Or out of raga and dvesha, or clinging to what I like, to have what I like, and hating or intolerant about what we dislike, to avoid what we dislike. Always in our mind also, even if it is not active in the activity, in our thoughts, in our mind, if you go into the mind, you will find that always the mind is thinking in terms of gaining something I like and avoiding something I dislike. And also the corresponding, the offshoot of is the fear. Fear of losing what I like and fear of facing what I dislike. Is it not? All the fears can be, you are having fear of death, means you like life. Or you dislike death from what you have known. Nobody has died. So seeing others die, you have a fear for death. So all the fears are fear of losing what I like and facing what I dislike. So we are always doing, not only doing, we are thinking also in that manner. Always the mind is full of thoughts that, will I get this promotion? Will I have this final... Even in the ashram also we will constantly think that, will Swamiji appreciate this? Why others are always scolding me? Am I useless or am I fruitful? Always the mind is selfishly thinking about personal gain, selfish gain or loss. So this Rajya Sukha Lobha orientation, Arjuna pointed out there and Krishna pointed out later, that is the main trouble with us. So that mindset has to be replaced with something else. What is that? The answer comes in the 18th chapter, 17th verse. The 17th verse of 18th chapter. Yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa iman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. Yasya na ahankritaha bhavaha buddhi yasya na lipyate. These are the two things. Whole Bhagavad Gita will talk about it. Yasya nahankrito bhavo, who does not have the, when you do not have the ahankara means egotism. So one is ego. What is the ego? Generally in our Shastras, ego is referred to as kartri bhava. I have done this, I have done that. Either we have a sinful mind to think that I have done something wrong, so we feel depressed about it. Or I have done something great, so we feel elated about it. Or I have to do something. It is my duty. If I don't do, then I will not be respected in the society. If I don't look after the community, what will people say? That this chairman is useless. In a small manner, big manner, these are always working in our mind. So, 1817 says, whose mind is free of ego, yasya nahankrito bhavo, buddhir yasya na lipyate, whose buddhi is not having the lepana, that is the sangha, Bhagavad Gita is repeatedly saying. As long as we have the sangha, what is that sangha? That everywhere we apply a color, we don't see the world as it is. We have applied the world a color of something I like and something I dislike. And what I like, for that we are ready to do everything. And what I dislike, we are ready to do everything to demolish it. So always the mind is applying this color of likes and dislikes, raga-dvesha. So this will cloud the buddhi. Why all of you are saying that I want to have a clear decision. Decision making is a problem. Decision making will remain a problem as long as our buddhi and mind is clouded with desires, hatred, fear, etc. Raga-dvesha. When the mind is clear of the partiality and when the mind is adorned with impartiality and impersonality, then we will be able to make decisions very well. This impartiality and impersonality is the real meaning of vairagya. You have a fear about vairagya. You have vairagya means, generally English we say dispassion. It is not dispassion. It is impartiality and impersonality. Then only you can make proper decision. That your love should not be restricted to your own son. You may look after your son, it is fine. But your love should not be restricted by that. Your love should spread everywhere to entire mankind or to entire animal or entire nature. That is vairagya. Then we will become impersonal and impartial. So, yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa iman lokan. Such a person who is not having ego and not having this color in his intelligence and mind, lepana, this sangha, even if he kills all these 18 akshauhini of soldiers standing there, nahanti na nibadhyate. So after killing so many people also, he has not killed anybody. Nahanti na nibadhyate. He doesn't get bound by that killing at all. Suppose you kill your friend, you will suffer from sinfulness, is it not? But when the soldiers are killing the enemy soldiers, they don't have any sinfulness. They are made for killing. They are supposed to kill. Why they are not having the sinfulness? Because it is their duty and they are not having any personal gain there. That we are working for our country and to protect our country I have to kill. And they go on killing for that when necessary. Similarly, for even in police also we have to do such job where normally we will not be able to do. So if the mind is free of the ahankara, the ego of I am the doer, that is the ego, and I am enjoying something, that it is called kartri bhoktri bhava. Kartri means karta, I am the doer, and bhoktri means by this I will enjoy this or I will suffer this. The feeling of enjoying and suffering out of something. When the mind is free of that, he says that even if he kills all these people, he has not killed anybody. Because in his mind that killing has not caused any lepana, any affectation. He will not be affected by killing. So the whole Bhagavad Gita is treating Arjuna's mind from this yat rajya sukha lobhena hantum svajana mudyata, that his mind was looking for some personal gain and greed for the kingdom. That mind has to think that no, this is a war designed by providence for establishment of a righteous rule. That was always the idea in Krishna's mind, that the world has become burdened with unrighteous kings. Everywhere there is corruption. So the war has to be fought by which again there will be a righteous rule on earth. That is why he was taking the side of Yudhishthira. That the righteous rule will be established, and that is a demand of the society. That is a need of the society. For that Arjuna was fighting, not for any personal gain at all. So Arjuna's mind has to be completely changed into from the personal gain orientation to whatever has to be done for the society, I am doing that. In the process I may die, I may not have the kingdom also. I may not win the kingdom. There is every possibility that I will die. But it doesn't matter. I am doing whatever has to be done in the process. So the whole background has given us a very conspicuous instance so that we can know that our office work, our administration work is nothing compared to what Arjuna was doing. And if he could do it, we can also do it in our case. So that we feel inspired by that this Atmic knowledge, this self-realization is not only meant for people who have renounced and gone away into the forest, but it is equally meant for us also. And by that what is happening? The process, as we will know, that it is to change every moment of our life and convert into the moment into a sadhana oriented towards the ultimate goal. So it is actually not running away from life to attain divinity, but it is divinizing the whole life remaining here. This you should understand very well. Normally we are running away from the world to realize our truth or divinity, whatever is God. In this case, Krishna is trying to bring in the truth in all our activities, and so that all moments of life get divinized. All our activities get divinized. Whatever the activity is, it can be killing also, but it has to be divinized. It can be a medical service, saving people, or it is killing people. Both will have to be equally divinized. If this mindset is not changed, then as killing is punishable, the doctor's work is not punishable, but it is equally taking us away from the ultimate truth. Suppose in saving somebody we become attached and personal gain orientation is there, then it is equally avoidable. It is equally condemnable. So we have to, whatever we do, we have to transform it into an instrument for attaining the same goal as the Upanishads say or present. This is where Bhagavad Gita is revolutionary. That change all your activities as sadhana. Nobody can say that, Swamiji, I am not getting time, only 5 minutes I can sit. You sit 5 minutes or 1 hour, doesn't matter. But throughout the day, what you are doing, are you remembering this truth? Are you making your work as sadhana? When you are suddenly scolding your employee without looking at his face just because he has come late, should not your mind think that let me first know why he is late? Maybe somebody died at home. Still he has come because he is sincere. But without knowing that, we first fire him or start scolding him. Why? Because we are not aware of the circumstances. Our mind is bogged down by what I want. That I have to finish this work today. Otherwise I will be scolded by my boss. And therefore I am scolding the employee. Being unaware of what is happening around. Not being empathetic or sympathetic about anybody around. So it is bringing back our sense, our awareness for everything. You are calling it the living in the present, living in the present. Whatever big words you may say, this is what it is. Being aware of our surroundings every moment, which we are not because of our desires, because of our fear, because of our lepana. That is, we are clinging to certain gain-oriented mentality. That is why we are not able to be a clear decision maker. Understanding the gunas that bind and also liberate us. This is very important. We generally think always, those who read the Shastras, they think the gunas are bad and they are binding us. And liberation means we will not have the gunas at all. It is absolutely wrong. There cannot be anything. Bhagavad Gita itself says, and all scriptures say, that there cannot be anything in this universe which is not an amalgamation of the three, not a composition of all the three gunas. Everybody will have sattva, rajas, tamas. Without tamas you won't exist. Without rajas you won't exist. Without sattva you won't exist. But the predominance of which guna should be there and all, that is our subject matter. It is not that transcending gunas means the gunas will not be there. Gunas can be transcended only in the soul level, Brahman level, Atma level, consciousness level. But as long as there is creation, it will be a product of the three gunas. So actually the gunas are binding, that we will study. Bhagavad Gita gives a threadbare analysis of how the gunas are binding. Each guna, how it is binding, and how we can get liberated from that and get uplifted to the Gunatita position. That is the subject of this 14th chapter. Now, the gunas are bad, but the gunas can be utilized in the manner to get rid of the bondages created by the guna. That is the subject matter of 14th chapter. That we have to use the same gunas. Without the gunas, there cannot be any activity, there cannot be anything in the creation. So we are slave to the gunas because of some problem in our mind and intelligence. That has to be sorted out so that the same gunas we will utilize so that we can transcend the bondage of the gunas and become liberated. That is why we have put the title that gunas that bind and also liberate us. So we have to understand the gunas, how they are binding and how can they be used for liberation. Now this picture she has put is actually in California where Vivekananda, it is near the Polima retreat where Ramakrishna Mission in the Vedantic Society, they have their retreat and all. Near to that there is a place called, I think it is Camp Taylor, no? Where Vivekananda had camped for 14 days or so along with about 12 disciples or 8 or so foreign disciples that all are Americans. They had camped there. Now exact location nobody can fully say, but whatever the history is available and all, by that they have finally demarcated this area in the forest. This is in the reserve forest, and they have put some table and all there. So that is the Camp Taylor where Vivekananda stayed for 14 days in his last phase of life. He was very sick, and one disciple said that let us go there. And it's a very silent, beautiful place. A small rivulet or almost like a stream is flowing past. They used to take water from that stream. Yes, by the way, now next one, let us go. Now, this is what I have already told you, just you compare and recapitulate. That Upanishads, I have pictured that this is the kind of teaching in Upanishad. The situation is like this. The Guru is surrounded by some disciples in a very peaceful situation in the forest. Instruction given in peaceful setting. Now this is true of almost all the scriptures. I think as we know, all the scriptures except Bhagavad Gita. Now Bhagavad Gita is the same instruction given in the war field, where there is activity and the kind of intensity of involvement we cannot even imagine. And in that he is making that situation for our upliftment, for our liberation. How? Because Arjuna was burning in enmity towards Duryodhana. He was soft in his mind in fighting against particularly Bhishma, his Pitama, who on his lap he had grown. Now, if Krishna makes Arjuna kill Bhishma somehow, without feeling, in spite of feeling all the love for Bhishma, if Arjuna could kill, then what is the other side of the coin? He should be able to kill Duryodhana also without enmity. This attachment love for which he is refusing to kill Bhishma, that same, the reverse of it, for intolerance and hatred, he thought of 14 years to kill Duryodhana. Are you able to understand? So, he is trying to make Arjuna fight Bhishma, and Arjuna was not able to. Those who know Mahabharata, they will know. His arrows were not going with power, it was just falling off. So finally Krishna said, Arjuna, tumse nahi hoga. You cannot do it. You will not be able to do it. You are Napumsaka, you are not a man, you don't have the manliness. I will go. He came down from the chariot with the Sudarshana Chakra, although he had promised that I will not take weapon in the war. He flouted his promise and took the Sudarshana Chakra to kill Bhishma. When he was going, Arjuna fell at his feet that no, I will kill. But twice he failed actually. He fell on Krishna's feet that no, you don't have to break your promise. I will kill Bhishma. I will throw the arrow properly. But on the other side, what happened? Seeing Krishna coming with the Sudarshana Chakra, Bhishma left his astra and said that, oh Lord, will it happen that I will die in your hand? Please kill me, please kill me. You see the greatness. See Bhishma's mind. Was he not also a knower? He says that, Krishna, you kill me. Will I be blessed to get killed in your hand? But in the meantime, Arjuna came and fell on Krishna's feet. So they came back, and then again Krishna was shooting, but not easy. It was not easy. So finally he had to get over his attraction for Bhishma, his love for Bhishma, whatever he was suffering from, to shoot arrows at Bhishma. And that was necessary for him to get over his constricted mindset, to transcend those usual human sentiments which constricts our mind. Go to the next slide. Vision of Bhagavad Gita. Instead of abandoning activities, make actions an instrument for liberation. This is the fundamental, this you should remember. That this is the fundamental principle of Bhagavad Gita. That instead of abandoning activities, make actions an instrument for liberation. Because most of us, we are not fit for the Upanishadic pursuit. So suppose you leave all activity and you take to only reading and contemplating on the Upanishads, then all the demons and criminals will remain in your mind, and they will not allow you to rise to the level of self, to the self-realization. You will not know that they are present. Not only that, your mind will remain constricted, only desiring for self. Whereas if you are allowed to, if you come back to the world and try to get involved in the activities, all the corruptions in the mind will open up. You will find that your mind is still small on so many matters. It is still miserly, either about money or about appreciating others or about finding the gunas, finding the qualities of others. Somewhere the mind is suffering this or that. It will go to subtler and subtler level of constrictions. It is not, initially you will find the gross impurities. As you polish it, you will find the subtler impurities. As you come further purity, you will find even a small speck is causing problem. Some tendency is there to enjoy something which is causing problem. Our Swamiji gives the example that when the polisher polishes a wooden table, initially it's all rough, he is polishing, but when the polishing has come to the final level, even a small black spot somewhere will catch our eyes. He has to polish that also, to remove that. Initially it was all full of dirt everywhere. So individually nothing was coming to light. But when the polishing comes towards the end, then small particles here and there, they also need polishing. So abandoning activities will not allow us to see what are the mind suffering from, what are the constrictions the mind is limited by. Next. So how to make the activities, and the previous slide we said the activities have to be made an instrumentation for liberation. Now we are saying how to make activities an instrument for liberation. Now Bhagavad Gita prescribes there, we say karma yoga, but Krishna himself says that it is buddhi yoga. We should read Bhagavad Gita well. Karma yoga is mentioned, but basically the fundamental it is buddhi yoga. He is saying durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanamanmicha kripanaha phalahetavaha. He says that ordinary karma, avaram karma, whatever karma we are doing, actions we are doing, you can interpret as yajna they were doing also, that is also karma. Karma means there is always a causality, that we act motivated by desire, by looking for some gain. So avaram karma, when we are doing something looking for selfish gain, mind is restricted, mind is constricted. Durena hi avaram karma, buddhi yoga dhananjaya. It is absolutely inferior compared to the buddhi yoga I am telling you, O Arjuna. Buddhi yoga. Buddhau sharanamanmicha. You take recourse to the buddhi. What is that buddhi? That buddhi is yoga buddhi. Yoga buddhi. That is, karma becomes a yoga not because of the karma. People are doing lot of, involved in huge hectic activity and saying I am a karma yogi. He is a karmi, not a karma yogi. When the yoga buddhi is applied in remaining active, then he becomes a karma yogi. What is that yoga buddhi? It is always expanding the mind to the universal level. That he is fulfilling. Take the next one. So, I have given only broad pointing out that these are the methods shown in Bhagavad Gita. These are all part of buddhi yoga. That is, what is the samatva? The buddhi has to understand what is the meaning of samatva. Samatva means evenness, uniformity, equalness of the vision. That it is defined as sukhe dukkhe same kritva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is defined as samatva. When we are able to accept both sukha and dukkha with even-mindedness. We are generally running after sukha and avoiding dukkha. But if the mind becomes free, then you will find dukkha is more enjoyable than sukha. Why are you laughing? You don't read any book of pathos or see some tragic cinema, film? And shed tears going there? Suppose the cinema, it pictures some very tragic scene. Don't you see and shed tears? I have seen Pather Pachalya of Satyajit Ray 6 times. He used to go and shed profusely and come back. So if it is not enjoyable, why should you pay and see it again and again? You have to think about it. But the same thing happening in your family, in your life, you will not enjoy. This is where the Sangha is. This is the definition of Sangha. Why are you able to enjoy the suffering? Seeing the suffering, you are suffering. But there must be some enjoy. Enjoy means your mind is elevated by seeing the suffering. You are getting the joy of elevation, joy of loftiness, while you are reading some Oliver Twist or some such books, or seeing some film where suffering is pictured so much. It can be various kinds of suffering pictures are there. We suffer along with them, but we don't detest that suffering. We are not avoiding that suffering. Because that attachment is not there, that constriction of me and mine we have not applied. It is happening as such, the suffering we are able to enjoy. But when the suffering is happening for my son or my family, then it becomes colored with the me and mine. Then we are not able to see it in the true light. Do you appreciate that? No reply. So the 6 methods they have given, all are actually same. There is hardly any difference. It is only a difference of presentation. One is samatva. I have given the corresponding shloka number also. Then asangatva, that is freedom from sangha. Just now as I said, that sangha is to me and mine, to what I like, clinging to what I like and hating what I dislike. Seeing a beautiful car, you can appreciate, you will be so happy. But if you think that, oh, I am not able to have that car my friend is having, then you will not be happy, is it not? The same car, seeing a flower, you should be happy, normally, but you want to own it. Or if you are not able to put that plant in your house, you are not happy. Our Shastras give the example of a girl, a beautiful girl. It's a creation of God. Should you not appreciate the beauty of the girl and be very happy that God has created such beauty? But you think of marrying that girl. And as long as you are not able to marry, you suffer. And when there is no scope, because the girl may be a queen or a princess, then there is no scope. You only become depressed. Another life I will get born as a king. You have to think. All these are vichara. We have to do the vichara. Then comes jajna bhava or jajna bhavana. Now here again the revolutionary method of Bhagavad Gita comes in. In entire karma kanda, that is the Vedas, karma kanda we discussed yesterday, where the jajna, yaga, ritualistic part of the jajna. There jajna is defined, is presented as doing something for getting the reward of it. So it is always done with a desireful mind. That either it is for owning up, for going to a heaven after death, or having children, like Dasharatha Putra Kameshti Yaga. So each yaga or yajna is talking about a result, talking about a reward. And unless we are desirous of that result, will we do the yajna? We will not. So yajna is performed only with desire in karma kanda. But in Bhagavad Gita, the yajna is interpreted entirely differently. He says anything you do without desire, it becomes a yajna. Why? Because yajna we are doing for the offering to the Lord, but with a desire in mind. He says do all the offering, all the actions as an offering to the Lord. Whatever you do, you think that I am an instrument of the Lord and He has asked me to do that. I am not now just saying will not do. If you are not doing anything for your any personal gain, then only it will become yajna. If the desire is there, then the yajna will be spoiled. The yajna will no more be having that effect of freedom. So see how Krishna has beautifully changed the presentation. In Karma Kanda, people are doing yajna desirous of some reward. But actually the yajna is an offering to some Lord. Here he says that you don't have to perform that ritualistic yajna, but you change your all karma as an offering to the Lord. Then whatever you are doing will become a yajna. And it will be an offering to the Lord only when you can do free of desires. In Raman Maharshi's language it is Ishwararpitam Nechaya Kritam. That what does become a surrender to the Lord? Ishvara Arpitam means what does become an offering to the Lord? Nechaya Kritam. He has written in very small couplets like this. Whatever you do without desire, it becomes an offering to the Lord. You do it as a part of your work for which nature or Lord has created you. Then come outliving raga-dvesha. This I have discussed, further is there. And the fifth one is the transcending gunas, which is our topic. That is why it's written in red. And sixth is sharanagati. This is the last thing. Also it is presented in the beginning also, but it is the last thing in life, that surrender. That means everything, we don't expect anything from anywhere at all. Whatever comes in, we go on doing it as an offering to the Lord. And when one becomes a knower, he understands that his body-mind personality, be attentive to this statement, his body-mind personality is also a product of nature. It is a conglomeration of the three gunas only. Being a minuscule product of nature, it is doing whatever it is capable of, whatever it is meant for, as a part of nature. As the earth is going around the sun, the moon is going around the earth, there is no desire at all. As the plants are growing every day, the flowers are blossoming, all different colors. Everywhere, all the unimaginable, tremendous activities in nature are going on. Nowhere there is desire. Is it not? That is why they can go on doing without getting tired. Because of our desire we get tired. So it goes on doing everything. Like that, we being small human being also, our body-mind personality goes on doing whatever we are meant for, whatever my body-mind personality is capable of, and whatever is the need of the situation or circumstances, it goes on doing. So when he realizes the truth of it, that it is actually so, I am only a witness of it. Whatever the body-mind, as I am the witness of nature's activities, I am a witness of the activities of my body-mind personality also as a part of nature. So I am nowhere getting affected by anything at all. So everything is already surrendered there. So he realized that everything is surrendered. I don't have to surrender anything. As long as we have the ego, as long as we have the kartri bhoktri bhava, that means I am doing something, I have to do something, I want to enjoy something, I have something to enjoy. That is the kartri bhoktri bhava. As long that is there, the question of surrender comes. Surrender of what? That ego and the bhoktri bhava, that enjoyment, sense of enjoyment. We have to surrender the kartri bhoktri bhava. When he understands that there is no karta in me, no bhokta in me, it is only a part of nature playing the nature's game, then where is the question of surrender? What will you surrender? There is no karta behind, there is no bhokta also. It's a nature's action being done as part of the entire unimaginable activities of nature. So surrender becomes fulfilled there. We become automatically surrendered. We know that we are already surrendered. There is nothing to surrender at all. That is the last of spiritual development, growth or evolution, where the life becomes sahaja, we say. Sahaja sthiti. Sahaja means natural. Just like a river, it flows. When the river flows, many people, many animals, many plant life, they are all served by it. Whatever coming in contact with it or near it. The river doesn't. There is no river actually. The water which was going there, the previous moment it is not there. The water is changing every moment. That water is flowing through the river, that's all. And in the process, so many things are getting done in the world. And that river naturally meets the sea. When it gets identified with the sea, no further. When it meets the sea, nobody can identify this was Ganga, this was Jamuna, nothing like that. It has all become sea. That becomes human life also. That the egoistic self becomes one with the universal Atma. There is nothing further to be done or not to do anything also. We will stop today. Tomorrow we will start the Gunas actually. Prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nitya bodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranomi. Prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nitya bodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranomi. Hari.